Have you ever driven by an old abandoned car in a field or on somebody's driveway and thought to yourself, I wonder what it would take to get that old thing back on the road again? Well, in this video, we're going to find out, because I'm on my way to see this, a 1985 Porsche 944. This thing has been off the road since 2013, and to be honest with you, she looks as though she's seen better days. Now, I'm on a mission to save as many of these cool old cars from being scrapped or parted out as is humanly possible. And I really hope that this one isn't too far gone. Here she is. So I've just arrived. I've been speaking to the owner of the car, and yeah. So this car was sent to me by one of my subscribers and was his dream project car. But since buying it, he's taken on some large home renovations that I'm sure you can see. And he's also added another child to the fleet. And he's realised he's just never going to get the chance to bring this car back to life. And when cars like this come up on the open market, they're often snatched up by breakers and parted out for a profit. I'm not about to let that happen. I'm willing to spend way too much money, time and effort getting her back on the road. This definitely needs saving. Obviously the tyres have gone down. It's had a good old dusting of construction materials. There's all sorts of plaster and bits and bobs and the obligatory moss under the carpet. So it's all kind of here, I do believe. It would be good to probably try and crack the bonnet open in a minute, but it's yeah, it's complete. Obviously needs a fair bit. So you've got holes there in the indicator. There's some paint chips around there. Taking a bit of a knock there and there, and of course we've got a bit of a problem there with that indicator too. Now the colour of this car, I'm not sure technically what it is, but it's a cool colour, and the seller was just telling me it's a very rare colour. I think they only did about 350. It's a bluey silver. It's really quite nice. I'll find out the actual colour. So yeah, we've got bits missing on this side too, and yeah, I mean, this is always the stuff that utterly terrifies me. There's a relay there, switch, some more unplugged cables. I'm kind of getting used to this sort of stuff now, if I'm honest with you. The interior has seen better days. There's some cuts there in the seats. That's not looking too fantastic. The driver's seat there is actually in better condition. We're missing a door card, although I do believe we actually have it somewhere. So I'll have to have a look at that. What are we saying about mileage? It says on there 11,000. Does that say 11? No, 11,700 and something. So I imagine that's gone around the clock. Buttons like that completely terrify me. What on earth does that do? I hope it's not some kind of immobiliser system. Although it probably is, knowing my luck. 5-speed manual. Some papers in there. Some trim missing down here. And then if we come back outside the car, you see needs some attention there on the roof. Looks like there's been some things leaning on it at some point. Got some divots in the roof. A bit of a mark there. Not a mark, you know what I mean. A what's it, majigger. Looks like something's hit it from underneath actually. Oh yeah, is there a... Oh yeah, there's no roof lining thingamajig. So it's taken a little bit of a knock there. Nothing too serious. And then here, look, you can see, oh, that was me just kicking it. So you can see here's the old tax disc. This was last on the road in 2013. And then it's just sat since then. Got a bit of sand and building construction debris all over the bonnet. and looks like it's just been sitting in some plaster. This tyre is flat. This one, that one's got a bit of air in it, so we'll have to see if we can get some air in. That's flat. And I do think that one down there is flat as well. Yeah, lovely. Like, the amount of rust that you can see on the outside is actually zero, even though it seems to have just been sitting for a long time. There's no actual like bodywork rust. If we just poke our head underneath, move that. Don't want my tyres to get any flatter. Yeah, I mean, what can we see? It's kind of doesn't look too shabby. It's very difficult. I can barely see myself as cars. There we go. It doesn't look too bad, to be honest with you. Doesn't look too bad. Ugh. Right, what I would like to do though is see if we can get this bonnet popped open. Oh, it's just dripping stones all over the car. Well done, me. Oh, it's open. Cool. What have we got? Okay, now I don't know the first thing about these cars. All I know is that this is a 2.5 litre inline 4-cylinder petrol engine, and it does look as though it's all there, to be honest with you. This blue, was this blue from factory? That's interesting. This air meter thingamajigger, that's blue. We've got a cone filter on there, some kind of thing, some other things. Yeah, I mean, it's all there actually, isn't it? And unlike the Bentley I just did, doesn't look like it's going to be missing any key components such as the ECU. So this looks like another Bosch injection system that I'm going to have to get my head around. So we're still in the era here where it's not completely mechanical fuel injection. It is actually ECU controlled, but it's not quite the same as your modern systems. You know, it's ECU controlled. You can see we've still got a distributor down here, but we'll get into all of this. And you know what, just looking in here as well, doesn't look like there's loads of rust. I mean, I know it's obviously messy and dirty and stuff. I'm not seeing massive great chunks of rust or big patches or holes or anything. The only thing really to note is that you've got these holes in here. The seller told me he bought this like this. The previous owner had put bonnet pins in. You can see it over there as well. I think the idea was to maybe take this car, turn this car into a bit of a track car. It's a bit of a shame because whoever did it looks like they did it with a rusty old hacksaw as well. But okay, I think I've seen enough. I'll take it. And so the next thing now, obviously, that we've got to do is pull it out of here somehow and get it on a trailer. There's only one man for the job. How you doing, mate? You all right? You busy? You're truckless. Oh, you're joking. Now, Wayne is my go-to guy when it comes to transporting any of my cars, but he's not going to manage to do much with a blown up engine. But no worries, he said. I'll send another guy that I know, which he did. And this guy turned out to be rather colourful.
You'll watch some of that come flying down on a push bike now.
Yeah.
Heavy handlebars. Go on, mate. Steer that round. Alright.
Alright, let's get this home.
What's that there for?
Just recording a little video if you don't mind.
Was that recording now?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Turn it off the video. Ready?
Go on.
Best of pushing the wheel back.
That's what I'm doing.
Oh, right.
Hang on, if I go against your truck.
Ready?
Go on.
Wayne said you was hard work.
He said the same about you.
He said what?
He said, I'm sending someone, but I'll warn you.
Did he? Is what he said?
No.
I bet he didn't all. Didn't he? He He always says that. Honestly, he normally says, oh, I'll send you someone, but he's a bit rough.
What do you reckon?
Wow.
I mean, don't be too enthusiastic.
Where's the inside?
What do you mean? What, the
Where are
door
the
card?
panels?
The door card's in the boot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, don't worry about that. I think the door card's probably the least of this car's concerns.
Right.
But you know,
Cool car, though.
it is it is very cool. I didn't even see that. I didn't even see that. Check this out. Something Naomi just spotted. On the 8th day, God created Porsche. I like this car a lot. So you can see down here at the front, that is the seller, Sam, reckons that might have been where it's actually rolled forward on his driveway a little bit over time or something. Or actually the way that this goes that way, I imagine actually it did get caught on something when it was dragged. I don't think that was us doing that right now, but who knows. But this is a very cool car. So apparently Sam was telling me that this had a optional extra front bumper and these side skirts. Now, please let me know in the comments if that's the case. I don't know anything about these cars. Now I've pulled it out, you can see there's a little bit more damage there. This front wing has definitely taken some beating. The bonnet is obviously scratched to smithereens where all of that building material was on it. Where do I even begin? So if you're new to the channel, you need to know a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a trained mechanic. I've just been teaching myself how to work on cars as I go, project by project. Second thing you need to know is I have never worked on one of these cars before. This is all completely new to me. So that's going to be fun and interesting. And the last thing you need to know is that I actually need to get this running and driving as quickly as is humanly possible, because I promised the missus that I wouldn't park another abandoned looking car out the front of our house again for the world to see. She's very house proud. So this needs to be moved from here before I'm properly in the doghouse. And I think the first thing really I need to do is I need to go around the car, make a list of my best guess of what I think it might need to get this thing running and driving. I'm going to order the parts and then we'll reconvene back here in a second for you, but in a few days for me, when the parts have arrived. So it is now a few days later and I've got a load of parts. We're working out of the back of the van again. Got my fold-up table, and the first thing I'm going to do here is what I'd really like to do is wash the car, because it's full of all of this construction grime and dust. But I don't have a hose that reaches all the way to the back of the house where the tap is. So the best I can offer people is I'm going to vacuum up as much of this loose construction junk as is possible and inside the engine bay, and then just be really careful not to lean on the panels and scratch all of the sand into the paint anymore. I mean, the paint is quite horrendous anyway, but let's not make a bad situation terrible. So as you can see, look, we've just got that is actually cement, I think. So, and all this moss, of course. So let's just try and get as much of this out of here as possible. that is good enough for now, and Lord only knows how many parts that were hidden in all of those leaves that I've just vacuumed up. We shall never know. So we are about to dive headfirst into this Porsche, but just before we do that, I just want to show you something. So if I get you in here, if I just start the engine, it's hard to make out on footage, but it's got a very rough idle and the van is actually shaking more than normal. You can tell that there's definitely something off. And if I get you in here, you can see that we've got this error message, check injection. Now, I know there are some people watching this video who are really quite competent mechanics. You'd be able to diagnose and fix this particular issue yourself. But I also know there's a whole load of you who wouldn't necessarily know how to deal with this. And like most people, you would just send your car to the garage to be diagnosed and fixed. Well, unfortunately, in the motor trade, there are actually a number of bad actors. So how would you know if the bill that you're presented for fixing this issue is correct, if it is justified? Wouldn't it be great if you could go to the garage already informed? Well, this is where I'd like to tell you about a completely free tool by Carly, who are sponsoring this video, that helps you do just that. Now, I'm not kidding you when I say that this tool can be used quite literally by monkeys. All I'm going to do is put in the details of my vehicle, choose the mileage. I think we're in the 100 to 150,000 kilometre range. I mainly drive short distances, and then you're presented with a list of potential symptoms. So mine is in engine and transmission, and then right there you can actually see unsteady engine. So I'm going to click that, click next, and my result will be calculated. Okay, and you can see that straight away it's given us our first issue. The mass airflow meter is defective. Now, I know that the most likely cause is probably that the airflow meter is defective. And Carly is saying it should be a maximum of £370 to sort this issue. That comprises £270 for spare parts and £100 for labour. And we can sense check those figures really easily, because if I head on over to eBay, you can see a Febby Bilstein air mass sensor for this van is coming in at £75. That's retail price. If you went to a main dealer, that number would come right up. And then the labour charge is £100. Really, this is about a 5 to 10 minute job, but you'll find that most garages bill you for a minimum of 1 hour, and £100 an hour, depending on where you live in the country, is kind of the going rate, if I'm honest with you. So that all absolutely checks out. And we can actually confirm whether the Carly Repair Costs tool has diagnosed that issue correctly. And I know for an absolute fact that it has, because for the purposes of this segment of the video, I unplugged the mass airflow sensor to get that result. So I know it's accurate because I caused the issue. So I have a lot of faith in that tool. It is accurate. And even if you know how to diagnose this problem, it might well be the case that your mum or dad don't, your daughter or son don't, and this tool could potentially save them hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds on a bit of a dodgy bill from a mechanic. And don't forget, this tool is completely free. There is a link in the description below where you can use it. And so I want to say a massive thanks to Carly for sponsoring this video. They're helping to keep this channel alive, and they help keeping these videos free for you to watch. These project cars aren't all buying themselves. Okay, now where do we properly start? So where I want to start with this is actually by telling you what I'm hoping to achieve here. So at the beginning of the video, I said that I am on a mission to save as many of these cool cars from being scrapped or parted out as possible. Now, one of the problems that we have is that when a car like this hits the open market, they are unfortunately often snapped up by people who end up breaking them for parts, because a lot of people can't see that this car actually has a lot of life left in it. We throw things away way too soon, way too early these days, but it need not be the case. And I'm here to hopefully prove that. So I want to get this car running and driving kind of just enough, you know, make it safe, make it just run well, get it going just enough that I can then move this car on to the next person who hopefully sees this as a much more viable project, a running project to take through to hopefully a full restoration. Now, one of the big things that's going to help me achieve this goal is the fact that this car has just turned 40 years old. And that means it's actually exempt from having to have an MOT. If you're from outside the UK, an MOT is our annual government roadworthiness inspection, once cars hit 40 years old, they don't need one. Now, that's not to say that I'm not going to make this car safe and roadworthy. I absolutely am. I'm going to go through the engine, we're going to sort the brakes, I've got new tyres, but the first thing we need to do is to make sure that this engine isn't actually seized. It's been sitting since 2013. I've got no indication of if this engine's healthy or not. Now, I don't suspect it is seized. The inlet manifold's still connected, the exhaust connected. I don't think enough moisture would have got in there in that amount of time to seize it. But what we don't want to do is put a new battery in, turn the key, and if the engine is seized, it means the starter motor is going to chew itself up on the flywheel. It's going to cause all sorts of carnage, and then we're just going to make a terrible situation even worse. So let's get a socket on this crank bolt and give her a turn by hand as a first check. Oh, there's no room, as ever. It's always just the easiest jobs that you get hung up on the most, like getting a socket on a bolt. Please, just go on there. I'm not asking much of you. Ah, yes, is that it? Oh my God, go on it, get on. Just go on the bolt. Oh, finally, right, okay. All right, please, spin. Ah, yeah. Easy. Yeah, that's not locked up in the slightest. Okay, great news. Good start. Let's just go the full 360. Feels like there's compression as well. Great news. That's a great start. That's always a great start. Right, where now? I still don't want to just chuck a battery in this old girl and turn the key, and I'll show you why. Because of all of this gubbins that's going on. Now, I have bought myself a workshop manual. It has all the electrics in it, and it's yet to arrive. I'm hoping it actually arrives in the next couple of hours. But yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at all of this, and it's just, I don't know who's been in here, but this is shoddy. This is worse than the Bentley that I've got that I was working on. Where the Bentley was just kind of missing parts, this has just been breathed upon by someone. So you've got all sorts of things like this. Just what is that? I don't know what that is. There's this. I mean, I don't know what that's for. I don't know what this wire just kind of goes up there and then disappears into the loom. I don't know, but the fact that that's even like that, you know, has got me very worried. There are things that have clearly been unplugged up here, and I cannot see what that goes to. I've got this plug again. I can't find anything that plugs into, which is just, you know, fantastic. We've got a load of this going on. I can just see electrical tape everywhere. Wherever I'm seeing electrical tape, I'm assuming someone's just done stuff like this, which is just shoddy and dangerous. And then of course you've got this here. Can you see that? That looks like a big earth connection that has just been unceremoniously snipped off. Now, is that an original earth, or was something installed? You know, because I think there was probably an aftermarket stereo, I'm guessing, or something in here. You know, I can see what looks like old speaker cable, and someone's run maybe new speaker cable in here, so they've stripped the speakers out. And then, of course, in here, with all of this, so it looks like everything's actually in there. Obviously this relay here is missing its sheath. This is the DME relay. These cars, according to the internet, are absolutely famous for chewing through. I should probably plug that back in. That's already hanging out. They're absolutely famous for chewing through these relays. And in fact, there's one just laying here on the floor. That is a DME relay. This controls all of the fuel injection and the fuel pump and all that kind of gubbins. So there's one in there that's missing the cover. There's one on the floor. I have bought another one that I'm going to install. But yeah, these cars are absolutely famous for going through them. It's about a £30-35 part. And then of course I've got all this stuff laying on the floor. This switch, I can't work out where the switch went. There's no kind of opening for it anywhere, so I don't know what that is. I'm mad keen on electrics as well. I'm definitely not. That is an absolute lie. Now, because my workshop manual hasn't turned up, I've just been resorting to Google. My main concern was that big earth strap looking thing. I can't find anything about it. There's no one is saying that there is an earth strap down there in that location. So I am starting to wonder if there was maybe an amplifier or something installed down here under the dash, and that was for that. That's all I can kind of think. That's all I can kind of think that it is. And then also, I have worked out that that thing that was dangling was actually one of the DME relay sockets. So it kind of just about goes back in there. Now, I think a lot of this has been messed with. I'm just wondering if it's all just old stereo stuff. Now, what I've got a little bit of electrical tape, and I'm just going to re-tape this up just for now, just to make sure that none of these wires are kind of touching anything or shorting out. Okay, so there's my replacement DME relay installed. Bit of tape on there. Can't see anything else that's going to cause us immediate issues. So I think what I am going to do really is actually just throw a battery in and then just kind of see what happens. I don't think there's any need to be overthinking things this early on. Let's just see if things power up. We do have an ECU in this car, which is which is lovely. Yeah, put a battery in. Yeah, just kind of turn the key and see what lights get illuminated, see if there's any buzzing noises, see if the fuel pump kicks in. And of course, there's another cut cable. What's that for? But it's cut off, so who knows why it's been cut. I don't know. Nothing seems to have happened at all. No buzzing, no anything. There are no lights in the car, I'm just noticing now. No dome lights or whatever they called those lights at the top in the roof. It hasn't come on or anything because there isn't one. Right, let me go and get the key. Let's have a look then. With the key in the ignition. What happens? Anything? Oh, yes. Oh, no, 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 no. No, don't do that. You're scratching it. No. Ah, you're scratching my windscreen. That's all brick dust. Stop, 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 stop. How do you turn them off? Oh, that was painful to watch. For me, and I imagine for you too. Okay, I don't think that's scratched the glass. Oh. At least we know. Why is this car so hard to get into? At least we know the wipers work, so that's good news. So really, I don't think there's anything for... Oh, what's that button? So I'm mildly terrified that this car has got an immobiliser fitted. There is really only one way to find out. I think that is just to turn the key, see if this thing turns over. I don't know if there's any fuel in it. What does the fuel say? It says empty on the gauge, but you might need the engine running for it to kick in. But before we turn the key, it's imperative that we check to see if there is actually oil in here, in the engine. Yeah, loads. Smells quite heavily of fuel. Well, I assume someone has just been cranking the engine loads, trying to get it started at some point in its past. Although having said that, that's quite thick, that oil, so that's quite a good sign. Right, let's, we're in neutral, yep. So let's just see if she turns over at least. No, of course not. Oh, yeah. Okay, good news. She cranks. That is fantastic, actually. Oh! Fired there for a second. All right, so that was an absolute result, really. So what you heard there was the engine coughing. What that's telling me is that, firstly, we have some kind of spark. Whether we've got spark on all cylinders or not, I don't know. But something was igniting. Now, I'm just going to assume that there is some fuel, probably in the fuel rail, in the injectors, and that might have been just the last of it that was going into the engine there, because when I turn the key, I can't hear the fuel pump kick in. Not to say it isn't kicking in, it just means I can't hear it. Although my hunch is that it isn't, the fuel pump isn't working. Now the fuel pump is controlled by that relay you just saw me replace there. It's just according to the internet. So maybe it's something to do with that. Maybe there's a loose connection at the fuel pump. But I think the very first thing I'd like to do is probably just chuck a couple of litres of fuel in it and just try it again just to see what happens. And any fuel that is in this car, either already in the tank, a little bit left in the tank. Oh, I've got this whole thing again where I forgot to bring my other... Oh, the fuel that's in the tank and the fuel that's left over in the injectors is probably heavily varnished and just bad fuel, basically. I always do this. I have got a nozzle for this can somewhere. I can't find it. And then hang on. I'm gonna have to give it a bit of this treatment. It should be a lot easier, actually, just to... Oh, stupid caps. Oh yeah, easy. A little bit of water in your fuel never hurt anyone. Said no one ever. So I am kind of remembering now that the previous owner, I'm sure he mentioned something about draining the fuel. I think he said he siphoned it out, which is actually a massive help. Anything that's left in there now is hopefully just going to get diluted a little bit with this fresh fuel. Oh, the fumes. Oh, I love the smell of petrol. I'm not sure what I'm expecting to have changed here, really, by doing that. Because if you can't hear the fuel pump, you can't hear the fuel pump. And I still can't hear it. So what I would like to do is to just bypass, I know it's a new relay, but I'd just like to bypass that relay and just to see if I can get the fuel pump running constantly. Now, of course, I had to do this on the Bentley. And so let's just go and grab something. I should have left it in here. There's my socket. Oh, I've been looking for that everywhere. 22mm socket. Oh, it's been driving me loopy. There it is. There's a little relay jumperoo that I made for that. So let's go and shove that into the socket on the Porsche and see if we can just get this fuel pump to run constantly. Oh, I'm so pleased about that. It's been driving me completely crackers. And if you're wondering what's going on with the Bentley, I'm sure some of you are, I'm just waiting on parts. That car is 100% going to be back on the channel. I just need to wait for some parts to come in. Oh, perfect timing. The postman has just turned up. Please, please, please have my workshop manuals.
And the other car that was there for donkeys.
Oh, I sold it.
Gave up in the
Yeah, I gave up with that one, yeah.
the other side, yeah. Right, okay, thank you.
Lovely, thanks a lot, mate. Cheers.
Got a few leaflets to give to the wife.
Perfect.
Go in the fridge.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Cheers, Rad, thanks. Got myself some leaflets. Please be the manuals. Who wraps parcels like this? It's just, that's an entire roll of tape. Quite literally the whole thing is covered, utterly covered in tape. Why do people do that? How do I get in it? Oh, it's a real pet hate of mine, this, and people do this. Because now I'm having to just destroy the cardboard box that could have been reused. So what I bought here is just a full set of original workshop manuals. It's becoming a bit of a hobby of mine, actually, collecting these workshop manuals. I love them, and I love the hard copy ones. So if I put that one in there, that one, and then the other one needs to go in there. Right, I doubt you heard that. I just heard the fuel pump come on. So it's not running, but it did click. That's not the desired effect. I was hoping you're going to hear the fuel pump actually properly running. Every time I pull the cable in and out, it just clicks. Let's just lean over and see what happens. Well, it coughed again, but it doesn't want to do anything else. Okay, I've just been doing a little bit of Googling, and it turns out I actually need a different style of jumper cable. This is kind of the same thing, but is 3 wires. It's an emergency jumper. It's a well-known thing for these cars. So what I'm going to do now is attempt to make one of these things, and then we're going to stick it in there and see and hope and cross our fingers that anything happens. We just get, well, not anything happens. What I actually want to happen is the engine starts. But let's try and make one of those wires. I think I've got enough stuff with me to get this done. I've just got some cable here. Let me get you a little bit over there. So I need 3 bits of cable, and I'm going to take my fancy wire strippers. Absolutely love this tool. Yes. Can you get a what's it, a majig? What are these called? A butt splice. One of these connectors. I've got my crimp tool, and then you just see how it's color coded, and I think that just goes in the yellow, and then we give it a good not bad. Right, okay, and then and I'm gonna get and in blue, and there we have our lead with our 3 spade terminals, I think they're called, on there. Let's plug this in, see if it does anything. Oh, I heard the fuel pump kick in again then. Nothing. Oh, and also I've just noticed this. The headlights have popped up. I don't know when that happened. I didn't see it happen, but they have indeed popped up. I love pop-up headlights. They've got to be one of the best things ever invented. That's cool to know that they still work. So yeah, I don't know how that, when that, why that happened, but so I need to now work out why it's not starting. Maybe we don't have an adequate fuel pressure. Okay, so to test the fuel pressure, I do believe that under that cap there's this bolt. We're going to remove that bolt and then hook up a fuel pressure gauge. Apparently there's some kind of like ball bearing in here that you have to make sure you catch, otherwise you're done in for. Oh. Yeah, there it is. Result. Okay, keep that in there. Okay, so straight away I've got a problem. Of course I've got a problem. This is just fantastic. So what I've got here is just a cheapo fuel pressure gauge kit. I've had this for ages. I can't even remember what car I used it on, or if I've even used it, to be honest with you. So you get a pressure gauge, all of this malarkey, and then all of these different kind of adapters. Only problem is none of these adapters actually fit onto this part of the fuel rail here for testing. There's just always something. I need to think of a solution. Okay, I think I've got a solution, and it's decidedly low tech. No? No? Maybe? Let's give it a go. So what I've got to do is I've got to jump that relay again just to get the fuel pump running, and then what I'm hoping to see on here, according to this website, is with the engine not running and the relay jumpered, 2.5 bar plus or minus 0.2 bar. Right, let's give it a go. And no fuel pressure. So I heard the fuel pump kick in. When I say no fuel pressure, absolutely no fuel pressure. Right, so I'm down at the fuel pump and there's nothing untoward looking. It looks like we've got really sound connections and all of that kind of gubbins. So I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to pull the fuel pump out and then see if we can kind of like bench test it or something, because it's very difficult to see what is going on under here, I'll be honest with you. And you know what, I've gone one better as well. The fuel pump is still jumpered, and I've just obviously, as you can see, removed that from the end of the fuel rail, and absolutely nothing is coming out of there. If the fuel pump was running, there'd just be a continuous stream of relatively high pressure fuel pouring out of there, so we know for sure that that's just a bit of a check that none of this was kind of like blocking anything. You know, the gauge wasn't reading anything. There's fuel kind of drifting out of there, but it'll be going This fuel pump is scorching hot. Did I unplug it? Nope. I still had my jumper cable connected, so the pump is still running. So that's quite a good indication. It looks like power is getting to the pump, but the pump has gone kaput. Probably should have clamped this other hose. Okay, what have we got? What have we got? Okay, so here's the pump that I pulled off. It's a genuine Bosch, and it doesn't look that old, if I'm honest with you. In fact, it looks like it's got a QR code on it, so it's definitely not going to be from 1985, that's for sure, right? So what do? Do I just hook up some power to it? But I do want to just kind of see if it, you know, just a little bit. Shouldn't hurt, should it? If I just take the battery out of here. Right, and then hook up some wires. I think I've got some what's-it-majigs in here. Oh, you know what I have got? So I've got some jump leads that I can just stick on and go ba 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 ba. But I've also got a, what are they called? A power probe that I've never used. This might be a great time to use the power probe. So I've hooked up my negative. I'm just going to shock it with the old positive here. It's a bit sparky. I can feel the pump going like that, just nothing. Yeah, this pump's dead, I'm sure of it. Maybe if I, you know, yeah, no, unsurprisingly, just bashing it on the table like that didn't make it come back to life. I think I need a new fuel pump, and I don't know why, but I've just got a feeling they cost £1 million. Bosch oh, actually not too bad. They sell them on Amazon. It's £83.86, but you know who it's worth calling, even though I just get nothing but jip every time I call her. I've got a Bosch part number for you. 0580464069.
We've got about 2 seconds, so they're all we're busy.
What do you mean I've got 2 seconds? I'm a valued customer.
464.
069. Bear in mind, they sell these on Amazon, so if you give me a price, it's worse than Amazon.
So I'll tell you what Amazon's price.
No, you got to tell me what your price is.
90 quid.
I'm not even joking, it's £86 on Amazon.
Get off Amazon then.
Is it really 90 quid? What is that, plus VAT? Give us a better price.
It is, you know, it's supposed to be 100 and something quid.
No, but give me a better price though.
I can't.
Have you got any? They got
What's it for anyway?
my Porsche 944.
No.
Thing of beauty. All right. Well, have they got one in?
Why are you here anyway? Twice in one day.
Hey,
You not got anything better to do? What?
have they got any in?
Yes.
What, on the shelf?
Yeah, no, they'll have to order it in.
When would it come?
Tomorrow about 11ish, I think. Yes?
Yeah.
Not you. Sorry. What a day. Is that it then?
Yeah. So I'm going to go for that one. It's just chaos for my sister. So it's the next day. New pump has arrived. Let's just get this fitted. Oh. Okay, that is that new fuel pump fitted, which is amazing. And now obviously all I need to do is turn the key. The engine is just going to start first time. We're just going to cruise off into the distance with flat tyres. Now, of course, absolutely none of that is going to happen because I'm going to turn the key with the relay in and it's just going to go and then I'm going to spend another couple of hours going all over the car trying to work out what on earth is going on. And in fact, of course, I'm not going to just turn the key. What I'm going to do quickly, just verify everything's working. We do need to recheck this, recheck the fuel pressure. So I'm just in here fixing my adapter and I just lent on this, which is the motor for the window for the headlight pop-up mechanism, and that is absolutely roasting hot like the fuel pump was. I know it's sunny here, but it's not warm. I mean, you touch anything else and it's absolutely freezing cold still. That's roasting. I've just unplugged it, so there's so many electrical gremlins in this car. I've probably now discharged my battery because that's been like that for a while. Just great news all round, really. Just great news. And I dropped my socket down here. So if I go and jumper this relay one more time, please get a reading. Please get a reading. Oh, wow. Oh, son of a... Well, I can hear the pump running. There we go, look, it's coming up. It's coming up, 2.3 bar. 2.3 bar, I can hear fuel coursing around the system, doing its thing. Great news, that is fantastic news. Right, so we did have a bad fuel pump then. So, where are you? Why are you behind the bonnet like that? So what I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna stick in the 3-wire jumperua that I fabricated. What I'm gonna do instead is put the new relay that I purchased. Okay, now I'm going to turn the key, it's just going to fire up and we're going to cruise on into the distance. Of course, again, that's just not going to happen. It's never that simple. It would be cool if it does something though. That battery sounds like it's dying, doesn't it? because of my headlamp motor. Ooh, ooh, that was close. That was close. See, I'm just trying to prime the pump a few times as well by turning the key to the whatever position. Come on, old girl. A bit of throttle. Oh, oh, so the throttle has two positions, closed and wide open, and it stays there. Look, that's me pulling the pedal back. Hey, there we go. Okay, that's better. Ooh, gave us some throttle there and died instantly. Gosh, she really wants to go. Go on. Oh, so close. Okay, well, the thing is with this is that I've got absolutely no idea where to go from here, which is great news. See, there could be so many things wrong with this. Crank sensor, dodgy old fuel in the injectors. The injectors could be a bit gummed up, failed spark plugs. There's just so many places to start. I just need to choose the best one. But she fires. We know we've got a working fuel pump. That's great news. She did fire up. Right, we know that there's definitely life in this old girl yet. So it's just a case now of working through it piece by piece and trying to get her going properly. There's stuff on it burning off as well. Right, so that was running for about 5-10 minutes just to see if it goes again straight away. This one's still running as well. What you can't see here, the reason Wayne's here is because he's just dropped off another project car for the future, and that's running behind us. So Wayne's just multi-talented, and I should have him around more often, although he might charge me too much money. Okay, so what you saw there was Wayne. Wayne is my go-to transport guy. He just came around to deliver another future project that I just couldn't resist. It was only £450. You'll see that in a future video. And then he started looking at this and he said, you crank it and I'll just give the throttle a really fine little bit of control, because I can't control it as fine as you can with your foot on the throttle pedal as you can by hand. So he said, I'll just play with this just a little bit. And we did that, little bit of back and forth, and that's how you saw it running like that. So the engine is now cooled down a fair amount, not completely. So I want to just see if it gets going again. But I tell you what, that sounded really quite smooth, to be honest. I can't believe it ran that nicely. That is lovely, really. I imagine as well the injectors were a little bit gummed up. There would have been old fuel in there and all sorts, but let's have a look, see if there's any smoke coming out of the exhaust. Also, I don't know what's going on with this exhaust. There's no way that's a factory exhaust. It's just, I don't know, looks a bit silly if I'm honest. It sticks out that much. But absolutely no smoke coming out of there. That's fantastic news. And then if I actually give it a bit with my foot now. So the mile per gallon thing is stuck, but you can see the rev counter right in the center. That's so cool. That's just holding nicely. We've got our old voltmeter there, is not showing anything. Oil pressure, that's all good. Let's stick a multimeter on the battery quick just to see that the alternator's working. And so we've actually got, if you can see that, 14 volts. So the alternator very much is charging. That's how you know an alternator is working. a car battery is 12 volts, but when it's charging, you want to be around 13.5 to 14, just over 14 volts. That's how you know the alternator's working, everything is healthy. So it means then really there's something wrong with that gauge. That's okay, I can absolutely live with that. I love it when these old things come back to life like this. It's the most satisfying thing in the world. Breathe a new lease of life into it. You are not getting parted out. I will not let anyone part you out, love. I won't let it happen. Oh, I'll tell you what else I did as well. Just to make things really confusing for the next person that works on this car. I was having problems with the battery, actually it's just there. That battery terminal isn't big enough, so I had this one in the van with this lead. So obviously it looks like I've got two positives hooked up, but that'll have to do just for now because that's all I had with me. Look at it go! Sing for me! Now there is a bit of a ticking noise, I'll grant you that. I'm sure you can all hear it. Who knows though, that might be solved with a bit of an oil change. Actually, I'll tell you what I would like to see. Seeing as I've got the rear of the car still jacked up from where I was doing the fuel pump, should we see if we've got drive? See if we've got a clutch and we've got a clutch pedal. So, what are we saying? No, nothing. That's in first, second. Oh yeah. What's happening there? We don't have a limited slip diff. The other wheel is actually spinning. Okay, that's great news. We do have a clutch, albeit one with an extraordinarily high biting point. We'll deal with that problem at a later date. Oil change. Okay, so my elation was somewhat short-lived because I can't get the jack under either side of the car to do the oil change because it's so low. So I'm just going to see if I can get any air in these tyres just to lift the whole car up enough that I can actually slide a jack under. But I don't know if these tyres are actually taking any air. I really need some kind of compressor, don't I? Because this is effort. And look, you can just see the condition of these tyres. Where they've just been sat for so long, has perished, deeply cracked. Hopefully they're not off the actual rim and these will actually pump up. Can I hear air coming out? No. So I've been pumping for about 45 minutes and the tyre hasn't gone up one tiny little bit, which is very annoying. Now I have got a jack, a low profile jack that will go under there, but it's at the workshop. I think we might have to shoot over there because this is ridiculous. What's the definition of insanity? Should I stop? Should I stop? Yeah. Hello. Come on then, shall we see walking? Come on then. Oh.
Good boy.
Good boy, we'll get you practicing your driving soon.
Yeah. Wow.
Come on. Maybe this side will treat me a little bit better. No, it doesn't like that. Oh, well I can hear air absolutely hemorrhaging out of that valve, so maybe the jack will actually get under this side. No. stone right in the knee. Right, so apparently these cars have a central jacking point. That's good. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah. And you know what? Probably worth just getting these tyres sorted out straight away. So then I can have nice aired up tyres, bring the whole car up a little bit. So let's have a look at these tyres. Yes, I'm using a chrome socket on an impact wrench. I know you've done it. I know you've done it before. Right, well, we've got discs and pads. That's good. And a really manky old tyre. These are absolutely done in. I think these are called cookie cutter wheels. It's quite a famous Porsche style. Let me know in the comments if I've got that wrong. Oh, that one wasn't even on tight. These are finger tight. They're all finger tight. So now with the wheels off, it's a lot more clear what's going on in here. And I'm going to be honest with you, these brakes, these discs aren't actually too bad. The pads have got absolutely loads of material left on them, and there's no lip on that whatsoever. Now I do have new discs and new pads, but if I'm honest with you, I am just going to run it on these for a little while, and I think you'll be absolutely amazed at how much these come back around. They're not particularly pitted or anything like that. So yeah, it's rusty, but a lot of that's just surface rust. So I'm just going to run them just for the time being, see how they fare. And right now as well, I can't see that the Flexi's got any kind of cracks or it's perishing or anything like that. So that's great news. I will get around to replacing them, but right now, for our purposes, for a low speed drive around the block, that's not going to be too bad at all. And it's a similar story around here on the passenger side. In fact, these discs are even better. Now this caliper is loose, if you can see there, so I need to just go through, do a bit of a nut and bolt check just to make sure things are tightened down. But yeah, I was expecting these to be absolutely horrendous. And then again, this Flexi here, it could do with replacing at some point, absolutely, but right now it doesn't look too bad whatsoever. And this car's got wear sensors on it as well. It's quite a lot of tech for a 1985 car. And then all four of these tyres are simply trash. You can see they're all cracked, they're all perished, they've all got incredible flat spots on them. They are no good to anyone whatsoever. So what I have got, and I've been storing them just here, four new tyres. These were the absolute cheapest tyres that I could find for sale in the correct size. They are pure Chinesium, and they will do the job for what we need to do, just getting this thing driving again. They will do the job perfectly. I have four of them. I think I paid £45 a tyre for these, so that's not too bad. Now, what I think we should do is we should get these wheels, get these new tyres, and take them to go and get fitted. I wasn't going to do that, really. That was a joke. Tempted, but I didn't. Look, to show you just how much of a flat spot we've actually got on these tyres. That just stands like that, look. Amazing. Alright, so you would have seen these guys before, Tyre Smart, in my videos. They do a great job. They're very reasonably priced, but the best thing is it's first come, first served. You do not need an appointment. You can just rock up and they'll sort you right out, which is delightful. Highly recommend them. They're in Witham, Essex. They're not paying me to say this. I'm paying them. Right, that is 4 tyres now mounted up to the wheels. This is actually going to get us down the road as well. So one thing they did have to do is, because all of the wheels, all 4 of them, were so badly corroded on the inside, they said they had to take, well, basically sand, I suppose, sand the inside of the wheel right back down to some nice fresh bare metal. And then, I don't know how well you can see it, it's this kind of rubber, black rubber, I can feel it's quite sticky. It's like a sealant, basically, rubber cementy type thing that they had to put on all 4 of them then, just to further seal up all of the gaps. And of course they balanced it, and I think it's this wheel actually, yeah, well I think all of them, but this one's got a new valve in it. So right, let's mount these wheels back up to the car. Actually no, I need to just go around quickly, don't I, and check all the nuts and bolts and do up these calipers. Is it this one? I can't remember which one was. I'll do all of them. I'll go right around the rear and the front. They're tight. And then just a bit of brake cleaner on the disc itself, just to get rid of some of that surface grime. Oh, lovely. That is a brand new brake disc. And so while we're at the rear of the car, it's definitely worth mentioning and pretty cool to discover that this car has a transaxle gearbox. So you can see the axle there, or the drive shaft, goes straight into the gearbox, which is at the rear of the car. Very much like a rear-engined car or a mid-engined car. And that's this whole thing here. That is the actual gearbox itself, I do believe, and it's connected via some kind of prop shaft down to the engine. And the reason I believe they did that is for weight distribution. It's put a little bit more weight at the back of the car to make this thing handle like a Porsche should handle. And then we've got this funky suspension setup, so you can see that we've got a shock, or 2 shocks, one there and then one on the other side, and it's escaping me now what this type of suspension's called. Torsion bar, I believe. Rather than having a spring, you've got a torsion bar setup, which I think is quite an old school thing. It's a bit like a Beetle, funnily enough. Who would have thunk it? But yeah, that's what's going on here at the rear of the car. And then another thing at the front of the car that I haven't discussed either, and you can see that the whole engine is kind of tilted on its side like that. It's slanted. Ordinarily, when you have an inline engine, an inline 4, an inline 6, doesn't really matter. You can see that it's dead straight. And it goes, you know, the pistons travel up and down. That's how it fits in. But in here, the pistons, they travel like that. The whole thing is kinked. Now, I'm not 100% sure why they did that. I can hazard a guess that it's to make the engine sit lower, you know, because if this thing was tilted up like that, the engine would be higher, and then the whole front of the car would have a higher centre of gravity. I'm going to assume that's what it is, but pretty cool, definitely worth noting. Right, and that is all 4 wheels back on the car with fresh tyres. Looking good, if you ask me. Lovely. So obviously the car is still up in the air because I've just remembered that this whole thing started with doing an oil change. That's what I was originally supposed to be doing, and got completely sidetracked with the brakes and the tyres. And now this engine is basically stone cold, so I'm just going to warm it up again. Hopefully it does turn back on. Warm it up, get the engine nice and warm, and then we'll drop the oil out of it and get that changed. Go on. Huh. What's changed? Oh. There you go. Just wanted a little bit more coercing. I do wonder if there still might be a little bit of a fuel pressure thing, or I don't know. But she's running, and she's running really smoothly. Ah, we've got a horn. That's fantastic news. I wonder if I can get the lights to work. Aha! Headlights and side lights are working. I don't know if you can see that in the light, but they are. This has taken a massive bash. there's an under tray, a metal, is it metal? Yeah, I think so. There's a metal under tray and it's taking a huge shunt. Oh! Some kind of insect that just made me jump like a little girl. Here we go. So take a look at that. You can see here, look where it's just taken a huge dinger from underneath, all in there. It's supposed to be flat like that. So who knows how that's happened. So that was all in this area, kind of right where the alternator is, and that hasn't taken any damage or anything. So that's good news. It doesn't look like a high speed kind of impact. And everything under here looks quite clean. There's just very little rust. Very little rust. I can see a little bit of wetness here. That looks like the power steering pump. A little bit of wetness on there, but other than that, I can't see any leaks or dampness or anything under here. You have got to be joking. You have got to be kidding me. Oh, I am such an idiot sometimes. So it turns out I didn't even need to remove that shield underneath, because the drain plug is right back there on the other side of it. 10 points to me. This is the trouble. I never look things up before I do it. I bought those nice workshop manuals, and I haven't even bothered consulting them. It's not even that. It gets worse than that. I didn't even bother just poking my head under here properly and having a look in at where the drain plug might be. Will I ever learn? So that under shield fits in all here, but the drain plug, am I pointing to it properly, is there. So I can just, you know, ugh. Also, you're gonna have to forgive all the noises in this episode. We've got helicopters and planes, we've got my neighbours mowing their lawn, we've got the traffic going past, we've got the wind. I'm fighting an uphill battle here, guys. Thank you for your patience if it sounds a bit too much on the old speakers. Oh. You've got the drain plug here. There's quite a lot of sludge on it, but no metal, and I think that is actually magnetic too. Yeah, it's magnetic and there's no metal on that, so that's quite good news. I don't know how you're supposed to get this oil filter off. How do you get in there? How do you get in there? Luckily, I don't think this is on very tight. I need one of those tools that's like the cup that goes over the top. Can't do it with my hands now. Go on. Go on. Yes. Spilt loads of oil, of course. This is a MAN filter, which is actually quite a good brand, I believe. Well, I hope it's a good brand, because I've just realised my replacement filter is also a MAN. No, these are brilliant filters. These are brilliant filters. I know that for a fact. And then I've heard it from people way more experienced and knowledgeable than myself to write the date on the oil filter. Okay, so let's talk oil briefly. This is always such a contentious topic. Whenever you bring up oil on the internet, there are some very strong opinions on what oil should go in what car, in what climate, in what country. It's absolutely bananas, and this car's no different. When you Google what oil goes in this, there are some heated debates on the forums. Now, from what I can see, I haven't even looked in the manual again. So what I found online is that Porsche themselves on their classic website say this car should take 10W50. Now, you try finding 10W50 just on the shelf. When I went out this morning to get some oil, I just discovered no one stocks it. I can get it, mail order and all of that, no one stocks it. So what I did pick up was Halford's own 20W50. If you look online, people say yes, you can use 20W50, not a problem. Other people say no, the car will just set on fire and, you know, some of your family members might die. I'm going to put 20W50 in because it's the best that I can get right now. I think as well, you're probably supposed to put oil in this that has all of the right preservatives and ingredients and the zinc and all of that sort of stuff. This is just going to be a temporary stopgap because I'd rather put this in here just for a short while and a few short miles than run the oil that was full of fuel, that was sludgy and however old for any amount of miles. It just makes sense just to do this as a temporary stopgap. So before anyone comes at me in the comments, this is what's going in. And it takes 6.5 litres of the stuff. And someone left a comment on one of my videos, a really cool little tip. Apologies, I can't remember who it was, but they said a good thing to do, especially with an engine that's had a little bit of sludge in it or is old or whatever, is to actually pour the first bit of fresh oil in with the sump plug removed, with the catch can underneath, and that way the fresh oil will pull through the last little bit of the sludge that might be remaining at the bottom of the sump and in the engine itself, which I thought was a great tip. And I'm going to do that right now, considering there was a bit of sludge in this engine. So I will sacrifice a little bit of new oil because I think it will actually help us in the long run. I've learned so much stuff in the couple of years that I've been doing this from you guys in the comments. I really do appreciate your input. Some of the advice I get is dubious, but lots of it is amazing. All right, a few glugs just to drain that all through. And hopefully you can see there, the oil that's coming out of the sump is now running clear. So that's the nice new fresh oil coming out. Right, and so the car's actually back down on all four wheels now, so as level as I'm going to get it. That should be it. Perfect. Okay, what's the first thing you notice there? The first thing you notice there is that ticking's gone. An oil change has stopped that ticking. That's great news. I also just want to quickly top up the coolant. Oh no, hang on. That's over full, as I'm sure you can now see, which is great news, although it is going down. Who let me work on cars? I'm just going to run it long enough to get the thermostat open just to make sure that all that coolant is actually pulled through the system. Just want to see if this old girl moves back and forth under her own steam for the first time since 2013. That was forward. Do we go back? Oh yes, so we have a clutch, that's great. Do we have brake? And we also have brakes. That's amazing. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the most fun you can ever have. Oh, lovely. Oh, I've even got a handbrake.
Get your fingers away. No, no. Daddy's all dirty.
How did it feel?
Yeah. Like,
what,
is it
mechanically, or how am I feeling about it?
Mechanically, yeah.
No one ever cares about my feelings.
I don't care about you.
Tell you what, I've said it before and I'll say it again. There is nothing more satisfying than bringing these old cars back to life. It's the most fun you could have. I urge you to go out and buy an old project like this. I'll tell you right now, it doesn't cost that much money as a hobby. You just need some basic tools like I've got over there, an owner's manual, access to the internet forums, and you can just have the best time in the world. And on top of that, we can help keep the history alive. This as car guys, this is our heritage. It's important. It's genuinely important. I'm not just saying that, it really is important. Okay, what next? So it is now the next morning, and I'd like to say it's a good morning, but it's not. So I came out here this morning fully intending to get onto the indicator situation because they don't work, and I went to start the engine. Bearing in mind nothing has changed since I stopped work last night or yesterday evening. It will not fire up. It doesn't even cough. Nothing's changed. So it's rather annoying, to be honest with you, because I've kind of got to go back. It feels like I've got to go back through everything again just to try and work out why this is. Now, what I did do is I did jumper the relay again for like the millionth time, just to get the fuel pump to run continuously so I can hear it. And it's not, it runs, the fuel pump runs, but when you turn the key, nothing happens again. It doesn't bark, it doesn't cough, it doesn't do anything. So that has got me just straight away suspecting then that this could be a spark issue, because I know the fuel pump runs, I know we've had it running, it's a new fuel pump, I haven't tested the pressure or anything, maybe I should, who knows. So I just want to pull out the spark plugs, just have a look at what they look like. I haven't done it yet, see if they're fouled up, see, I don't know, just see some stuff. Or maybe I should even just put a spark plug tester on it to see if we're getting, I don't know. It was running and now it's not running, and there's no clear indication of what it might be. So I am just going to go straight in with my spark tester. Okay, I can see that flashing. So we've got spark, at least on that front cylinder. Right, so actually before I mess around with that fuel gauge again, getting all that hooked up, what I'm actually going to do is I've got a can of Easy Start here. I'm just going to try and spray a bit of this into the intake. Okay, so the Easy Start makes it fire, so we know we're getting spark. This must be a fuel issue, it must be. Oh dear. Okay, so I've got the fuel pressure gauge connected, the relay thing jumpered, so it's running constantly, and you can see I've got 2.2 bar. You can hear the fuel going through the system. So fuel pump's working, injectors. So I want to check if fuel is actually coming out of the injectors. I know I'm getting fuel up to the injectors, I want to make sure they're coming out. Now what you can see I've done here is I've pulled off the fuel rail and pulled the injectors out. It's incredibly simple, it's quite literally 4 bolts, and then this entire thing just pulls out with all of the injectors and everything else still connected to it. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to get 4, well I'll do it in a sec, 4 cups if you like, that I've just cut bottles in half. I'm going to put them under the injectors, and then I'm going to turn the key, try to fire the engine, and then see if all 4 of those injectors are actually spitting fuel out into the bottles. There we go. It's rudimentary, but I can't see why it shouldn't just get the job done. Yeah, fuel is coming out, but tiny amounts. So I know the injectors are firing. Is that enough fuel coming out of those injectors though? I don't know. Let me try and get you right in there on one of the injectors, and you can have a look to see how much fuel is coming out when I crank. Maybe I'm just not seeing something. There's an air leak, or one of the sensors is off. One of the sensors is giving a bit of a dodgy reading or no reading, and that's stopping the ECU from doing something. But we're still getting spark, we've still got air, we've still got fuel, so in my mind it should still fire. It's not like it's holding spark back, from what I can tell, because of the fact that, you know, when I spray Easy Start in there, it does fire for a second. So maybe those injectors aren't delivering enough fuel. The trouble is, I don't know what it looks like when an injector actually properly delivers fuel, believe it or not. I don't know how much it needs. And the fact that it was running, and then I simply left it overnight, and now it's not running. I pulled all of the injectors out again, aimed them into bottles, and then this time I took all the plugs of the injectors off individually, disconnected the coil, and then using my power probe, I just started sending electricity straight to each individual injector. Yes, I had a spark from this near some open cans of fuel that were in the bottle. Don't do what I do, basically. I understand there's a fire risk. You know, it's just that us Porsche owners, we like to live life on the edge, right? So I was prodding each individual injector, and the spray pattern, well, the spray pattern on some of them is a little bit iffy, I'll give them that. But when I was giving each injector power, just one injector at a time, I was getting like really good pressure. Whereas before you saw me cranking and I was getting awful pressure. So I knew that all of the injectors weren't blocked. It just very much seemed to me that they weren't getting enough power, because when they get the full complement from this, everything was A-OK. So what it ended up being was simply one of the contacts at the DME relay was just a little bit weak. I literally gave it a bit of a wiggle, plugged the DME relay back in. Bearing in mind, I'd had the relay in and out 100 times trying to diagnose this. Plopped it back in, turned the key with the injectors still out, and then I had the full complement all of a sudden. It was just like gushing fuel. I was like, oh, that's it then, it's fixed. Put the fuel rail and injectors back in, and then that is what you saw me start the engine there. So it was just a loose connection at the DME. The injectors weren't getting enough power. So I've got to go through all of that wiring properly and sort it, but let's see if it restarts. Anyway, on to the next problem, of course, and that is the indicators. So I've got the ignition on, and I've tested this, and it's the same with the engine running and all of that gubbins. So if we indicate left, you get a solid indicator light. If I indicate right, you get a solid light. And I've been around the car and none of the lights are flashing. However, if I cancel that and then I press the hazards, well, the hazards work. So you can hear the relay, the flasher relay relaying, and you can see that light flashing, and you can see that the indicators themselves are working. This one kind of comes and goes, and then we've got nothing on the back. We've got nothing on the back, that's understandable, just kind of looking at it. And so we have to come into the boot, which is where, because I know some of you are definitely wondering, which is where the driver's side door card is. So that is great news. I do have it. It's a bit janky, as you can see. I've also got the centre armrest in a state of disrepair. So you can see here, this light panel switch light bulb holder thing is already out. It was like this already. So this is the indicator bulb. So I'll put a new bulb in, but also you can see there's just like a load of corrosion in there. So I think just to begin with, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and clean a little bit of that out, probably just a little bit of sandpaper. exactly the same story. I'm going to do it on this other side too. We'll get in there. There's not even a bulb in that one. Put a bulb in, clean it all up, and then just use that as a kind of baseline. Then we can see where we stand. Right, so with the indicator, right indicator on, nothing. Left indicator, nothing. Hazards. Can you see that? So with the hazards on, that one's working. This one is not. There's also a ground down here that looks to be for these rear lights. So I'm going to pull that off, give that a bit of sanding and clean that up, and then see if that does anything to help as well. Okay, has that made any difference? Perfect. But we still don't get anything just using the indicator stalk. That was the hazards. Okay, onwards. I think what I want to do now is I need to just check the fuse. Ah, no, the flipping windscreen wipers again. Ah, it's painful. There you go. They're all flashing. The windscreen wipers are just on. I can't turn them off. That's amazing news. But you can see that that's flashing with the indicator actually down. Oh my God, what are these windscreen wipers? They won't turn off. And then right. There you go. You can see it comes on. It was a fuse. This is amazing. Right, so we've still got a bit of an issue though. As I'm sure you've seen, even if I put the indicator back in here, there's not going to be much happening, is there? That one's bad. And this one is bad also. Second hand, off the eBay, not that much money. I think this was about £60. So that's obviously the right hand side. And then here, I have the other one. Now, what's strange about this is that it's second hand and is used, but it's actually in an original Porsche box, which is very cool. I think it's used. Yeah, it's used. It's definitely used. There's even a little crack there. But that is the left-hand side. So this looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 studs with nuts. Going to take those ones off, put these ones on, and then we should actually have indicators that work properly. You know what, now I look at that, no, I was going to say I wonder if that's someone tried to pry this out, but no, because we've got that massive great thing there. There we go, 2 new lenses in. And then before I put the lights back in those lenses, I just want to see if I've got brake lights. Okay, fantastic. Brake lights, reverse lights, turn signals, side light. We're so close to driving this. There we go, and the finished article. I bought a lens, so let's just stick this in here. Yes. I don't want to refit this silly green, blue, green, blue lens. Also, I don't even know if those things are legal, that colour. So, trying to adhere to the law as best as possible. That's all right. So, if you want to get this car on the road, there is another area of the car that we need to see to. Now, fortunately, I did manage to find one in a perfect matching colour. Oh, it's got glass in it, yes! Great news. So, these are obviously electric. No, that can't go in there, can it? Let's go in there. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, there's just no way. So the smallest bolts I've got are an M6. The bolt to bolt this door mirror on is an M5. Right at the end. I'm right at the end. Do you need door mirrors? Do you need them? Do you need them? Is there an M5 bolt anywhere else on this car that I can steal? Ooh, what's that? That's an M5. Is that an M5? No. Is there an M5 anywhere? Oh, come on, we're so close. This is about M5, isn't it? No, even that's an M6. Oh, hang on, what's that? Oh, I wonder. I don't believe it. I don't believe it, yeah. Did you see at the, must have been at the beginning of the video, this thing, this building material thing, was in there. Oh look, you see there's a bolt on it. There were two. I've just taken one off. This is an M5 bolt. What are the chances of that? Yeah, that never happens. I'm assuming that there is supposed to be some kind of gasket that goes in there as well, but you know.
Oh my god, it's red.
Huh?
It's red.
It is red, yeah. I didn't think anyone would be able to tell. Oh no, it's too short. No. No. Oh no, that's so irritating. Okay, right, let's stop messing around. Let's go and get an M5 bolt. Let's just bite the bullet. Let's go. A little bit more of a rudimentary setup here on this side. I did buy new glass, as you can see, but I forgot about any of the kind of backing plate that actually attaches it to the mirror. But that's not going anywhere, and it does actually work. You can actually see in there, so that's pretty cool. Oh yes. So, for the first time since 2013, this car is going to drive down the road. Yes. And we are out on the road. Woo! Yeah, door mirrors, fantastic. Now, of course, I can't see anything out the rear view mirror because we've got that oh so 80s tint. So the rev counter works, speedo works, fuel gauge does not work, but I know there's a few litres of fuel in there. And we are motoring. Oh, yes. Do with a bit of tracking, I think. Pulling to the right somewhat. Open her up. Ugh. Oh, 40 miles an hour. Brakes are lovely. What a fantastic little car. I love it. The gear shift on this car is gorgeous. That has got such lovely feel to it. It's very precise. to it. I've definitely heard better sounding cars. Not sure what that exhaust is all about. This is a fantastic B-road blaster. Oh, I love it. This is what it's all about. Fix these cars up and then you actually drive them. Now, one thing this is not is a fast car. There are some kinks to work out with this car for sure. I don't know if it's got a misfire as such, but performance is, it's a little bit stuttery, let's just say that. I think those injectors could either do with a good clean and a rebuild, or, to be honest with you, because they just look so horrendous, probably do with just being replaced. And then the car needs a real good tune-up. I can smell all of the gunk burning off of the engine. Oh yes. There's a Nissan Juke behind me and it's keeping up. I don't know how I feel about that. Miles per miles are high. There is, of course, now that she's running and I can get her closer to the house, there is now something that we need to do. Yes, I know this isn't the correct nozzle. I keep forgetting to order the proper car one, but I'm taking it nice and easy. Don't worry yourselves too much. There are people out there in the world who actually enjoy doing this. Just don't understand. And if you thought this was going to be detailed to the nth degree, I'm afraid you've come to the wrong channel. This is the most basic of washes. No, I'm not going to jet wash inside the engine bay because you just know it's going to attack all of the electrics. And so that would be done by hand at a later date when I've finished messing around in the engine bay. Even with the most basic of jet washes there, this car is already looking a lot better. Now, unfortunately, paint on this car is absolutely destroyed, and the only way you're going to make this really nice is, quite frankly, with a complete full respray. But the main question is, what do I do next? This is where I need your input. Do I sell it as a running driving project for the next person, or do I keep this car as a bit of a summer back road blaster? You know, it's a rat roddy type thing. It's very ratty, got no intention of respraying it. But do I go a little bit further, make it mechanically even nicer and just have a bit of fun in the summer? Well, this could even be a really cool, very cheap track day car. These are all options. Let me know what you think. But most importantly, that's another one saved. I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I'll see you soon. I'll tell you what, I'd have put money on that sunroof leaking, but it hasn't.